All right, we're live. And this is test number 4. Total of 7 cameras. Not bad. Of course, they're all pointing at me. Well, damn. This is definitely pretty good. Okay, well, nobody on yet. Probably won't be either. But the fact that I'm doing this is pretty cool. So, uh, now I've got. Hey, Ethan, how are you? I think you were on last time that I did a test. This is definitely another test. Seeing how far I could push the cameras on my computer. I know the screens are a little cluttered, but I had to use this software program to utilize more than 4 cameras, so we'll just have to run with it. So let's see what else. 7 of me. That's a lot. So I bought a new USB hub. It's a powered one, and it's a Utella or Otello, and it is powered. So it's got a wall wart. You plug in the wall, it supplies power to USB devices. And that seems to make all the difference in the world. Now it's a 4 port, so I've got 4 cameras plugged into that go into the back of the computer. I've got 2 cameras plugged into my regular USB non-powered port that plug into the front of the computer. And I've got 1 camera plugged in up top to the USB port that's on top of the computer. So I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think this thing would handle 7 cameras. And they actually do pretty good. The delay is minimal. Looks like about a 1 to 2 second delay. I can live with that. Of course, I wouldn't be running this many cameras anyway. My layout's designed to run 4, possibly 5. I'm still waiting on the 5th camera webcam for its auto face tracking. I don't know if it's going to work the way I want it to or not, but I hope it will. I'm hoping it will track the train as it goes by on the layout. At least that's the plan anyway. What's up, Ethan? Anything good going on? I don't know how much of a delay there is between what you're typing in and what I'm seeing. Okay, so that's how you do that. That's cool. It's very possible there's a big delay between what you're typing and when I see it. I don't know that yet. Ethan, do you have a train layout? Joe Rader. That's a lot of you, easy. Of course it is. This is test number 5, I think, right? Maybe. Test 4, excuse me. A total of 7 cameras. Now I'm using 4 webcams. No, 5 webcams. A and 2 camcorders. And unfortunately, I had to use this program because even though it's cluttered up screen, because my free one doesn't allow more than 4 cameras at a time. I just wanted to see if the computer would handle it, and it clearly does. Nice, Ethan. Very nice. I asked Ethan if he had his own layout, and he apparently does. Like I said, not too much lag here. It's not too bad. A second, maybe 2. I can live with that. You know, I was talking to Dave Thurber. Well, I was texting back and forth with him yesterday. And I raised a good question, and maybe somebody can answer it. I know a lot of you guys that have train layouts, and especially if you're doing YouTube videos, you run laptops, and I don't understand why you don't use a desktop. Now I use a desktop because, as a matter of fact, I'll point it right over to it. That's my desktop there. And I build my own desktops, but I use a desktop because they have more power and they last longer than a laptop as a rule. You have less problems with them. And I don't understand why you railroaders don't use desktops. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 that do. Hey, Dwight, but the majority of you use desktops or laptops, and I really don't know why. I mean, is it the convenience of being able to move it around? Because certainly, if you're going to run multiple cameras like I plan on doing and Dave Thurber plans on doing, a laptop is not your best bet unless you have a really high-end laptop like one of them $1,000, $2,000 ones. So maybe somebody here can answer that question because I have no idea why you chose a laptop over a desktop. I don't really quite understand that question, Ethan. We are actually doing a StreamYard. And like I said, this is just a test. I'm not going to be on here very long, but I just wanted to see if I could pull off running 7 cameras, and apparently I can. I said, Joe, you use a desktop. Well, good for you, man. Like I said, a lot of guys run laptops, and I don't, I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me. If you have a layout, you probably have a fixed area where you do your YouTube videos or whatever. So why not just put a desktop in there? Tom, I know you use both a desktop and a laptop. And by the way, how you doing, Tom? 7 cameras, can you believe it? Yeah, I don't think there's too many laptops could pull that off, but the desktop surely can. Of course, I did in fact buy a powered USB hub, and it was $21, which wasn't bad. And there it is right there. I got it fastened down so I can't move it. But it makes a big difference being powered from a wall outlet for handling the extra cameras because I could barely get 4 cameras to run on an unpowered one. Actually, I had 2 cameras kept buzzing out on the last USB port that I got that I recommended mistakenly on that I bought from Walmart. Total garbage. Don't pay attention to that. But this one here is pretty good. I got it off Amazon. It was $21.99. and it is in Ottawa. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Well, it's not that scary, Tom. I mean, it could be. Yeah, I figured out how to do this too. I'm finding out, I'm still learning how to do a lot of stuff. Uh, I'm new to this. I want to start doing live streams, I think. Not soon, but in the near future, I think I'm going to start doing a live stream, maybe a weekly one or a monthly one at the very least. I want to wait until I get all my cameras set up and actually have running trains so I can have that in the background with multiple cameras and then you know, do my own little show. Not to compete with anybody, but just, I got to figure out a good time to do it too because that's always a problem. A lot of the slots are already taken up. Like I said, that's in the near future, so we'll see. I've also got to find another software program that can allow me to use multiple cameras without all the stuff on the. Oh, that's bad, Tom. That's real bad. It's funny. Yeah, that would definitely be strange. Yeah, look, I'm live again. I'm live. Doing a broadcast. Tom's on there.
Hey, Tom.
Just stick your face in there. Come on, stick your face. Ah, come on, don't be a chicken. Don't be a chicken. There.
No. Okay, come on.
Uh-oh, Christmas cards. It's that time of year again.
Turn around. I'm going.
Yeah, you're going now?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to get a couple bags of green beans up there cheap.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, boy. Be careful. Tom said hi, by the way. Now you're away from the mic. She said hi back. She's a little camera shy. Well, now I got to get to work. I'm still waiting on some of the cables. I ordered 2 cables for the USB, and they haven't come in yet. I don't know when they're coming in. Hopefully soon. And I can start setting up these cameras on the layout. I have an idea. Can't see Ethan's chat. Can you see any of the chat? I would think you could. That's the last thing that World Fan has 120. Wow, that's a lot. And it's a lot more than I could pull off. And I know how they do that. They use that using security cameras, probably the IP cameras. And because who was it? I can't remember now. One of you guys asked me if you could use a security camera setup, either wired or wireless. And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. The only problem is for those of us trying to save money, because I have a wireless setup outside. You can't see Ethan, huh? That's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to even work on that. Same here, everyone but Ethan. He might have dropped off. I don't. Ethan, are you still there? I think he probably dropped off. I would bet. So as I was saying, if I've got security cameras outside for the house, and it's a wireless setup. But I paid almost $500 for a 6 camera setup, and then I added 2 cameras because it could handle 8. Of course, there are better systems that can handle way more, but you're talking big, big money. So, but yes, if you have a system laying around and you're not using it outside, you could use it on your layout. It would work. And like I had a wired system back in Naples for the house, and I used to run it through my computer monitor, and I was able to record and everything with it. And you could see everything that was going on outside. Plus, I had a separate monitor just for it. So, but it ran through the through my router, and I was able to put it on the once I got the router address or the address for it, I was able to put it right on my computer screen. So yes, it can be done, but like I said, as a rule, it's kind of expensive, probably more expensive than what I'm doing here. Oh, there you are, Ethan. You're still here. Can anybody see Ethan now? Well, I'll see his chat anyway. There we go. There's the pogo cam. That's a good deal, Tom. Yeah, I just threw a whole bunch of them away, but that's because they weren't compatible with anything I had. Ah, there you are, Ethan. You're back. Can everybody see Ethan now? Or see his chat? Yeah, the system I bought, this is the third security system I bought for the house since I've been back here. You still can't see him, Joe? I don't understand. Nobody can. Ethan, are you on some sort of privacy thing or something? I don't really know why nobody can see your chat. But anyway, I'm on my third security system for the house here. I bought a four camera system before I came up. When I had set it up, it lasted 2 months and died. So the cameras were fine, but the receiver part of it took a dive. So I bought another receiver from Amazon. It was dead on arrival. So I sent it back. I can't do anything about the lag, Ethan. That's just the way it works. I could probably cancel out some of my cameras. Hang on a second. Let's see. We'll cancel this one and this one. That better? That should take care of the lag, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, I want to buy another system altogether. Just shit can the old one. I bought a new one, and I paid almost, I think it was $460 for it for a six camera setup, and then I added two cameras later on. And unfortunately, it's very proprietary. Only that particular brand of cameras will work with it. All right, Tom. So I'm not lagging then, or wasn't before I went to four cameras? Actually, let me change my. There we go. I want to do it that way. No, I don't want to do it that way. That's what I wanted. There you go. As I'm still learning this thing here. Like I said, I'm seeing maybe a 1 second lag between my arm movement and the camera's picking it up. So that's what you guys see over there. I have no clue. So as I was saying, this third system, third security system I bought works really well. I'm not real fond of wireless cameras. To me, they don't seem to be that great. Um, I would rather have a wired setup, but because I can't get up in my attic anymore because of uh, my health for health reasons, there's no way that I could wire up cameras. So I had to go with the wireless. But if you have a wired system laying around, yeah, see 1 second, that's not bad, Joe. If you have a wired system laying around, you can utilize that for your train room. And that's really the smartest way to go. Plus, wired systems are generally cheaper than wireless, at least as far as I know. The wired system I had back in Naples, it was a 4 camera, and I think I only paid $160 for it, $150. Maybe it was only $140. It wasn't much, you know, and it worked flawlessly. All right, Tom, tell Debbie I said hi, and hope she enjoyed her birthday. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, you're out of camera range again. What happened? Where'd you go? I need a dog tracking camera, right? I don't think they make such a thing, but if they did, that's what I need. My security is a dog and a shotgun. Well, I don't have a shotgun. I got 45, and five dogs with a 45. So I got plenty of security here. But the cameras are still nice, And they came in handy. I ordered something online a couple months ago, and it never came. So I wrote to the company, and they says, "Well, according to tracking, it was delivered to your door such and such date and time." So I went back on my cameras and I looked. Of course, we were even there that day because it caught my wife on camera, and no package, no delivery. So I called them back. I said, "Well, you're full of shit because the package was never dropped. Matter of fact, no truck even went by." Needless to say, I got my money back. It was a scam. But so yeah, the cameras they do serve a purpose. If somebody vandalizes your house or steals packages, hopefully you'll have you know a person you can see some and maybe see it, get an idea on them. Who knows? But it does help. But yeah, the ultimate security is definitely your dog and your gun. But I think most of us model railroaders are well armed anyway. And I won't go any further than that. Oh, what are you doing over there? Well, get back in camera. There you go. There's your camera range. There's Pogo. He's just hanging out. Right? You being a good boy? Are you being a good boy? Yes, you are. All right. Well, can't believe I've already been on for 25 minutes. I don't really have much to talk about, so. Oh, I am working on. Let's see, I got a camera here. Yeah. I'm working on my utility shed. I've still got to make a roof for it, the shingles, and do the rest of the trim. And let me go get it. Oh. I'm back. Okay, I finished my sugar shack. It's all trimmed out. That front door in there, and there's a sign. I don't think you can really see the sign too well. Let me see. Too blurry. But it actually says Sugar Shack on it, and it is legible. It's not on the camera. So it's complete now. So I've got my shingle roof. So this part is done, and put it over here for now. Like I said, I got to do the utility shed next, and I suppose after that, I'm probably going to start printing the main house. Well, the house, I might do the guest house first because it's smaller, and I think I can do the guest house in probably about a day. I actually have to make two of them and then make them together because I don't have a what do you call it? It doesn't have a long enough carport. I can only extend it so much. So I've got to get a full length carport in there, and then the guest house itself, and of course it'll be lit. There's no lighting in both of these because there's no windows, but the guest house does have a couple windows in it, so we'll get some lights in that. Then after that, I'll start on the main house. Now the main house is going to take 3 days to print, and then I'll still have to come up with some outer. Well, it's not going to be completely right, so I have to make modifications to it to emulate my actual house. At least I've got the base. The base building is similar. Anyway, it's going to be complicated. It'll probably take a week or two to actually build the thing. But 3 days is a solid printing. So I think it was 2 days and 18 hours of print. And that's assuming I got the scale right. And I guess I better get the scale right, huh? I don't want to do that more than once. So that's really all that's been going on. The training room's kind of a mess right now. Here's the camera here. Oops. Knocking cameras off all over the place. I just got cameras sitting all over the place here. I'm making a lot of trees still. I had to take a break from the trees because I'm making some BD20 holders for another guy. So I'll be doing that for the next day or two. Then I'll get back on the trees. And I got more of the shrubbery in from Woodland Scenic so I can actually start completing more trees. And I've got a lot of trees, but a lot more to go. So it's going to be different. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I know, Dwight. I'm not real. The printer. Well, you've got a good printer too. You've got a Creality, right? A Creality Ender 3. They're okay, and same with mine. My Annette. The old ones you wouldn't want to leave running unattended because they were known to catch fire to move on. Now the new ones like yours and mine, they have protective circuitry in there to prevent that from happening. And I've run mine all night before too. Plus, I do have a smoke alarm in here, so if something did happen, I would be alerted quick enough before the whole place went up. So yeah, I'm not really too concerned about that. Like I said the first printer I had, that was an Annette, but it was a really pathetic one. And I actually had to upgrade it to protect it from potential fires because it didn't come that way when I bought it. But all the new ones do. So you don't have to worry about it. As long as you know your print is, I wouldn't start a print and then go to sleep. I would start a print in the morning, keep an eye on it throughout the day, and if it's doing okay throughout the day, it should be okay running all night. Because I've had prints where I'd start them, walk away for a half an hour, come back, and I had a mess on the table because it didn't adhere to plate, the build plate. And it happens on occasion, especially with these trees. You really you want it. Well, I don't know how your cruelty works, but with the glass plate that I have on mine, I use what do you call it? The stick glue, the Elmer stick glue, and I put a bead of glue on the work area, and that keeps the work glued to the table. So because the trees are so tiny, they're only about about that big around at the bottom of the trunk. So and I can use the I can't remember what it's called now to hold it down, but that's a waste of filament, so I don't like doing that, and then I have to peel it off. So, but yeah, it's safe enough to use them at night. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, hairspray works too. Um, Amazingly, my wife does not use hairspray, and I have yet to go out and buy some. And the stick glue I found was pretty cheap. Although I think the hairspray would probably work better. Yeah, the new ones they got are magnetic. I don't know how that works. I don't know how it keeps the work on it, but I think the new Ender 3 Pros have it, but mine does not. So I'll just stick with what works for me. Have you made any of the trees from the files I sent you yet, Dwight? Okay, you have a glass bed too. So are you just using the aluminum bed that it comes with? Okay. I find the glass is handy because it's easier to clean off I don't have to worry about nicking the metal. Because I'll take a razor blade on every probably 20 or 30 prints I do and scrape the old glue off. Like you said, you probably don't have that problem because you're using hairspray, but with the glue, it does build up layers over time. So, uh, I ought to plug in my big mic. I don't know why I'm not using it yet. Are you having problems hearing me? You know what? All right, hold on. I want to try something different here. Hang on just a second. Let's see which camera's off. This one's off. All right, can you hear me now? All right, do I have a microphone? Hang on a second here. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me? Should be able to. Okay, can you hear me now? Sounds good to you. All right, yeah, I plugged in my my Nano. So, hey Dave, how you doing? Said I'm messing around with cameras and all kinds of stuff here. Yeah. So anyway, I asked the question, Dwight, have you made any trees yet with the files that I emailed to you? Cool. No, not yet. I'll try them out. You'll have fun with them. But like I said, you can modify them. I sent you just the STL files, so you can do what you want to do with them. Because I resized mine and everything for what I needed. I believe they're HO scale, but they're pretty big. And if you go by the original file, it takes like 10 hours to print one. And I've got it down where I'm printing it in about an hour and 15 minutes. So that makes a big difference, especially it saves on the filament as well. It's like Pogo is sleeping. He's all tuckered out. Alrighty. Well, so the good news is I could probably get away with running 7 cameras and a microphone. And it slows things down a little tiny bit, but not too much. Now, I'm still getting a little bit of a lag though, aren't I? Now, that's to be expected. But it will work, and that's all that matters. So, look in the near future, I should have the camera set up on the layout, trains running, and we'll be good to go. Oh, that sucks, Dwight, but I know how you feel. I get that way if I walk a lot because of the stroke damage to my right leg. And it's very painful for me to walk. So I try not to as much as I can. I have a 3-wheeled scooter that looks like a small motorcycle. It's electric, and that's what I use to get back and forth with outside. So I'll run because It's actually about, I'd say it's about 50 yards from my garage to the shed, to the sugar shack. That's a long walk, and I don't like walking, so I jump on the scooter, ride over here. And when I'm done, I jump on the scooter and ride back. So I'm not being lazy. It's just that it really is painful for me to walk. So, and like, especially if I drive a long time, like if I drive for 4 or 5 hours straight, man, my legs will hurt, especially the right leg. So I'm just, hey, I'm old, I'm out of shape. Have to keep moving. Or yeah, well, you're technically right, Dave. Last month was a bad month with that bad pain in my leg. Even drag myself to the yeah, I hear you. I'm a little worried about going to the hospital. Did they give you any problems? Because I won't take the that shot. So I'm afraid they'll try and sneak it into me if I ain't looking. But I try and avoid the hospital like the plague. I guess that's one of the downsides of old age is you get pains here and there when you want them or not. I can't do the keto diet, Dave. Well, I have to be real careful because I'm diabetic and I eat a lot of protein anyway because they don't want me to do too much in carbs. Problem with that is now they're saying it's destroying my kidneys from eating so much protein. So I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. You got to be more careful, Dwight. I fell a couple weeks ago. I was in the train room here and I had a 2-step stool. And I got up it with all right. And I kind of knew I was going to fall because I went to step down and I couldn't reach the step. So I thought I could just land a foot and a half lower and just hit the ground, with my foot. Well, of course, that'll land on my right foot, which is the weak one. And I wound up falling on my butt. Fortunately, I didn't hurt myself. I got a little bruise on my butt. And that was about it. But, and I weigh 220 pounds. So when I hit the ground. All right. Yeah, I'm a type 2 as well, Dave. And they're letting you do the keto diet? Maybe I need some new doctors. I don't know. See, the only meds I take insulin. They started me out on that other stuff. I can't remember what it's called now, but they used to give to everybody. And I found out it was responsible for amputations. So I stopped taking it and told them I wanted to take insulin instead. And that's the only thing I take now is insulin. So I am looking at natural alternatives. There is a cure for it. And that sucks. Like 2 weeks is a long time. No sugar, low carbs, good for everyone. Well, that's true. It is. But there is a cure for diabetes. It's just that it's been buried. Prior to 1900, the year 1900, they were able to cure diabetes. It wasn't very common at the time, but they had a safe cure for it. And what happened was in 1902 or 1901 or 1902, some scientists discovered insulin. As soon as they figured out the insulin, they decided, well, why should we cure something? We can make money selling insulin. And it sounds bad, but it's the absolute truth. And since that time, the cure for diabetes has been buried somewhere. So I don't know what the cure is. I've been looking around. I cannot find anything. There are pills you can take. I'm taking a thing now called Altase. It's a natural vitamin. It helps, but not that much. So I'm still looking around at different alternatives to maybe get rid of this diabetes for good. 'Cause I got it right after I had the stroke. Hey, Wisdom. But basically, all I eat is meats anyway. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian. I don't like vegetables. So I tend to eat a lot of meat, uh, like hamburger, chicken. I'll have a little bit of pasta every now and then, but like I said, I keep my carbs down low. My biggest addiction was bread. So just recently I stopped eating bread, and I'm going to see if that helps. You got to be careful on those sweeteners, Dave. I mean, some of them are actually worse than sugar. I was using the monk fruit for a while. That's a natural sweetener. That's pretty good, but it's kind of expensive, so we couldn't really afford to keep buying it. And unfortunately, all the drinks have now. The doctors told me I could drink ginger ale, and I do drink it because it's the only thing. I like sodas. I gave up Coke and Pepsi, and pretty much every other soda. I don't drink Gatorade because Gatorade will raise your sugar a lot. Yeah, it's derived from plants. I'll have to look at allulose. I never heard of it, but I'll look into it. Because I don't trust like Sweet and Low or all those other weird ass sugars. You know, they'll kill you quicker than nothing too. So, you know, it's getting to the point where you don't know what the hell to eat anymore. You know, and it really sucks because when I was younger, before I got diabetes, I could put down a whole pizza for lunch, a large, you know, and not even gain an ounce. And I was never this heavy before. I was usually right around 150, 155 pounds, and I was 5'7". I've lost an inch over the years. Yeah, stevia is good. Also kind of expensive though, but you know, as soon as stuff like that catches on, they jack the price up. When I first bought the stevia, it was really cheap. I'll absolutely stay away from artificial sweeteners. It doesn't say there's a lot of artificial stuff out there that's not good for you. Unfortunately, the soda, even the ginger ale, still has that high fructose corn syrup, which is not good for you. But I got to drink something. I mean, I drink enough of water, but I really hate water. You know what else to drink? I mean, the water and the ginger ale is about all I drink. I'm not a coffee drinker either, so. Yeah, stevia is from a plant. As I said, it's good stuff. It works. And like I said, but the problem was here in Sebring, food is outrageous. Well, I don't drink diet soda, Dave. I only drink regular soda. It's just regular ginger ale. But even the regular ginger ale has high fructose. I believe it has high fructose corn syrup. Let me grab one over here. See what this actually has in it. It has. Yep. High fructose corn syrup. Now, what are you gonna do? I mean, like I said, it's not much you can. There's not much you can drink around here. And yeah, and you're absolutely right on the diet soda. I've never drank diet soda, and never will. That's like drinking light beer. What's the point? You know, I have a friend who used to drink light beer, and it's like Bud Light, and he drink twice as much. It's like, well, what are you solving here? And that's good, Dwight. You should stay away from that stuff because it's really not good for you. But I was a Coke fanatic, not cocaine, but Coca-Cola. And then I jumped over to Pepsi because Pepsi tasted better after a while. And I was drinking massive amounts. I mean, you wonder why I'm still alive. How do you make keto cheesecake, Dave? Now, cheese is good for you. I love cheese, and I eat a lot of cheese. But real cheese, not the fake stuff. Unsweetened tea sweetened with stevia. Stevie, live on. It's not bad, but it's kind of bland. Well, I might try that. I like iced tea. And we can make our own here, too. So, yeah, I think we were doing that for a while. And I think she was, well, either she was using stevia in it or the monk fruit. I don't remember which. Lots of recipes. I'll have to start looking into that. Yeah, well, be nice if they start curing some of these diseases if there's so much money in on it. You know, before Trump lost the election, he was supposedly looking into releasing the cures. He knows there's cures for this stuff too. There's cures for cancer. There's cures for diabetes, for multiple sclerosis or MS. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in my 20s, I had I'd hurt my knee, and I didn't want to get surgery or anything because I was too young. So I went to this doctor that lived right around the corner from me, and I was actually his last patient before he retired. And he told me, and like I said, he could have been mine, but I doubt it. Don't drink water. Well, I run my water through a filter, a good filter, not those cheap ones. Yeah, I know. That's weird, isn't it? So anyway, this doctor told me, he says, I'm going to tell you something that I'll never repeat, and no one will ever admit it to you, and they'll deny it. But he says, I know for a fact, as a doctor, that there is a safe cure for every disease that we know about. But they'll never come out with them because there's no money in it. And that always stuck with me because it makes sense. You know, like you said, look at diabetes, for example. Diabetes is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. It's crazy the money they get on this stuff. I have to see a doctor every 3 months. Yes, sugar does feed cancer. And here's another thing too. Now, I know you guys have probably been following. I don't know if you follow this COVID stuff. I got to be careful what I say on here. I get bumped. But there are some people that are claiming that ivermectin will cure cancer, which is weird because ivermectin is an I can't think of the word right now. I can't think of the word. It escapes me. But we were told that cancer was out of control cell growth. But it may not be. They may have lied to us about it. Because there's two people now. Well, basically, it's a dewormer. So, what if cancer is some sort of a worm or I'm lost for words today. It was some sort of a, I can't think of the damn word. Inflammatory. Yeah, well, it could be. Well, that's right, because anti-inflammatories also help cancer, but so do dewormers. So what if cancer is a type of a worm or some sort of an infection that, thrives on sugar and other things? But people are swearing that ivermectin will cure cancer. Now, I hope I never get cancer. Thank God it doesn't run in my family. and I try to tend to be careful, but it's interesting though. What if it does? And the medicine knew about this for years and didn't tell anybody. I have a friend back in Naples. She had breast cancer about 12 years ago. Well, she went through the chemo and the radiation and all the other stuff that they do. Millions of dollars. I think she spent like $3 million. Well, not personally, but her insurance company. And she was fine for about a year, and then it came back. And now she's got it again. And of course, there's new therapies, but she's basically taking anti-cancer drugs for the rest of her life, they told her. And it's destroyed her immune system. She readily admits that. And she's really spending millions of dollars. And most people don't live through their second bout of cancer anyway. They're usually the chemo kills them. I've known many people that got cancer, survived it the first time, and then got it back with a vengeance, and then this chemo wound up killing them. That's the way it goes. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear about that, Dave. But there's crazy money involved in it. So why would they? And it's like the Cancer Society. They've been bugging me for years. Why don't you donate money? And the last time I seen them, which was a couple of years ago, I said, I'll tell you what, as soon as you come up with a safe cure, I'll give you some money. Sorry to hear that, Dwight. And that's my attitude. You throw money at they've been doing cancer research for what, 60 years? They're no closer today than they were 60 years ago. It's just a big money pit. And that's why I don't give money I don't donate money to a lot of these things, because I'm not seeing anything. Show me a cure. Show me some progress. I'll throw some money at you. But the way I see it, they're making more money by not finding a cure than they are from trying to find a cure. And this is the problem with medicine in general. We should be paying them to cure disease, not to cause it or treat it. Well, that's young, Dave. Fortunately, no one in my family's ever been stricken with cancer, but my dad was sorta, but he was in his 80s. He got a little bit of skin cancer, and they had to remove a little part of his ear, and that was it. But he spent his entire life outdoors. He was a big. Why am I not, Dave? Well, you're lucky. Why? How old are you, Dave? Are you older than they were? '67. Oh, you got a few years on me. I'm 62. Well, better science now, maybe, or better medicine. I don't know. And I'm also a firm believer you can't die before your time either. Which a lot of people have a hard time accepting that, but that's my personal belief. Yeah, I know that story, Joe. I actually met a guy that actually accidentally got one of those carburetors back in 1958, I think it was. And he was stupid because he didn't realize what he had. And they gave him it was a Chevrolet, a base model, Chevy Impala. And they gave him a brand new car for free if he turned the other one in, which he did. Well, that's pretty good, Dave. 19 pounds. I wish I could lose 19 pounds. So far, the best I've been able to do is 7 pounds I've lost since I was diagnosed, and I've been diagnosed for, since 2007. And I really hate being this big. Like you said, 217 pounds is just a little bit too much. I should be down around 160, 170, but not easy to do. Now, there was a guy at Fort Myers, this is for Joe. There was a guy in Fort Myers, just a few miles away from Naples, where I used to live. This was about 10, 12, maybe 15 years ago. He built a car that ran on air. And he had an onboard compressor. It was self-sufficient. And he tried to sell it to the car company. Well, the car companies offered him money. I think they offered him like $50 million. He told them to stuff it because he wanted to produce it. Well, he wound up getting run over by a truck in his front yard and the car disappeared. So, that's what you're up against. But and medicine is the same way. Money rules this planet. That's just the way it is. It sucks, but it's true. So, because I actually knew a guy that was developing an electric car. This was back in the mid 1980s, and he actually looked me up because I had a 6-wheel car at the time, tandem axle, that I built, and he figured I knew something about gear ratios, which I did. So he approached me with this blueprint for an electric car. Yeah, you're right. It is all about agreed, Joe. So he approached me on this idea for an electric car that was self-charging. Brilliant idea, but he couldn't figure out the gear ratios to spin the alternators fast enough to charge the batteries, then before they would be depleted. So I actually worked on it with him, and we came up with a gear ratio that worked, and then he disappeared. So I kind of forgot about it, and 2 years later, I was in Bonita Springs, and this is also next door to Naples. And this guy approached me, and he says, "Hey, do you remember me?" I said, "No, I never met you. I don't know who you are." He says, "Yeah, you did." I said, "No, seriously, I did not." And he says, "Yes, you did." He says, "I'm the one who gave you the plans for the electric car." I said, "You're not him." He says, "Well, I changed my identity." I said, "All right, so can you prove that?" I thought it was some nutcase, right? So he says, "Well, come over here." He had an old 40 Econoline van, like a 1965, 60 Econoline. He put an electric motor in it and converted it over to the plans that me and him worked on. And it wasn't incredibly fast. It wasn't like a Tesla or anything, but it would do 50 miles an hour. And it never needed to be charged. It would charge itself. So he says, "Well, what are you doing and what happened to you? You just dropped off." And he says, "Well," he says, "a lot of things happened since that time." He says, "I made the mistake of trying to market it." So I told you can't, there's a certain way you have to do it, and your way wasn't going to work. He says, "Yeah, you're right." He says, "The FBI actually came and arrested me. They took all my plans and destroyed them. And I don't remember why, but they wound up locking him up in a nut house. And he escaped the nut house, I guess, a few months later. That's when he changed his identity. I mean, he didn't look the same or anything. Changed his hair color. I don't know. Even his face didn't really look the same, but it was strange." He said, "Yes." He said, "I decided to build one. The problem is I could never sell it." He said, "They find out I'm out on the loose, they'll probably kill me." I said, "Well, you're right." So I never seen him again after that. I did drive the truck, and it actually was electric, and it did recharge itself. It was very cool, which I knew it could be done anyway. But once again, there's no money in it. Electric cars are selling today because you got to charge them. Even the hybrids have a gas engine. You have to put gas in the gas engine to charge the batteries to run the electrics. There's an expense involved with it, no matter how you look at it. But a car is completely capable of charging itself. And it's not perpetual motion by any stretch, but it can be done, and it's not that hard. You have to overrun the alternators and use capacitors and deep cycle batteries. And this thing, I think he was running on like 72 volts or something like that. He had a whole bunch of batteries in the truck. But it can be done. Especially today, we have better technology for the motors. It would be a piece of cake to do it, but there'd be no money in it. Can you imagine buying a Tesla that you never had to plug in or Not to worry, just get in it and go. And it would always go like forever. And it ought to for what the hell they get paid for, almost $100,000. And the reality is you got to charge it. Well, how do you charge it? You need electricity. How's electricity made? Burns fossil fuels. All right. So it's not any greener than a gasoline car. And the problem with Teslas is when they catch fire, well, there's nothing left. And that's another story for another day. But the bottom line is it all comes down to money. So these things are possible. Even Nikola Tesla, back from the 1800s or whenever that was, early 1900s, he found a way to get free electricity. And you think that these companies don't know about? Of course they do, but they can't make money with it. As Joe stated, it's all about greed. So until that changes, I don't expect anything else will. And I don't see that changing, to be honest with you. Not until Jesus Christ comes back. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get off of here. It's, as I said, it was only supposed to be a short test. And if you let me, I'll be on here all day. Which is not good. It could be good, but I just wanted to make sure I could actually run 7 cameras, and we've already proven that I can. So, and like I was saying earlier, I'm probably going to start doing live streams in the near future. It might be 6 months or so from now. Yes, it was a successful test, Dave. And now I know that I can do a live stream and have multiple cameras, and it'll work. And maybe it'll help any of you guys. Might be able to help you guys too if you're running multiple cameras. Instead, if you're running a halfway decent computer, preferably a desktop, you should have no problem. Thursdays? And see, that's it. Well, isn't somebody on Thursday? I know Dave Thurber does Thursday morning. I wouldn't do mornings anyway. I would want to do evenings. That could be a good day because Wednesday's tied up, Tuesday's tied up. I believe Friday's even tied up, and Saturday and Sunday. But like I said, that's going to be a few months down the road. I want to get more progress done here, maybe. And again, may decide to do it in a month or two. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thanks for bearing with me. And I'm glad you dropped by. That's right, Hot Rod did, didn't he? I haven't seen him lately. Is he doing anything at all? I mean, he dropped off of On Track Tuesday as well. So I haven't heard about Rodney in a long time. Is he still doing okay? Does anybody know? See you later, Dwight. Have a good one, man. Well, a lot of guys are dropping off anyway. I mean, even Sparky doesn't. I don't think he does it. Does he do a live stream anymore? If he does, I haven't heard about it. Yeah, well, I guess that's an opening for me to jump in there, right? All righty. Well, listen, guys. I don't think Hot Rod like you doing it. That could be, Dwight. I don't know. It's like Sparky said. After a while, you run out of stuff to talk about or run out of stuff to show. Well, that's cool. Well, even Vinny doesn't do it that often anymore, does he? Or no, he still does Friday, doesn't he? Vinny? I'm not sure. I rarely watch Vinny because he's mostly N scale. Even though I like Vinny, but N scale doesn't really do much for me. All right, Sparky does twice a month. Yep, and he does Friday. That's what I thought. So, but yeah, some of these guys really are dropping off, and it's like, And I mean, Dave's got the right, Dave Thurber, he's got the right idea. It's basically like a talk show. You guys, yeah, see, ready for Vinny. So he does this Thursday morning, and that's really cool. And you guys talk about stuff, which is fine because let's face it, how much can you show off of your layout? I mean, you can show off a lot while you're building it, but once it's built, well, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to show? So conversations are good. We teach each other things. We learn from each other, and just shoot the breeze. So I would probably try and emulate that myself, and have guests on. I think the idea of having guests is cool, and it gives everybody a chance to, say their piece or whatever. So we'll see, but that's going to happen soon. All right, guys. Well, I keep saying it, but for real this time, I'm going to get off. So everybody have a good rest of your day. Don't work too hard for those who are working, and for those who are not, enjoy the day. And always keep it on the rails because nobody likes to be derailed. Good night, everybody, or good day, everybody. Bye for now.